Hello, and welcome to One Stop Property Management. We're so excited to begin our journey with you. One of the most important things that you, as a property owner and client, are going to want to see is your owner statement that will come to you every single month. We issue our owner statements on the 20th of the month, along with dispersing owner funds on that same day or the nearest business day to that day. So, as a new client, we want to help you understand how to read your owner's statement. So, I'm going to share a copy of an owner statement and talk you through the key components of the report so that you can best understand the information that you'll see in the upcoming disbursements to you. As always, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Contact your personal property manager, who will be happy to explain and answer any questions you have. Okay, so here's an example of an owner statement. You'll notice that up here in the top right-hand corner, it shows the period that is covered by our statement. Since we disperse on the 20th, on or around the 20th of every month, the period covered will be the 21st of the previous month to the 20th of the current month. And you can see that here. Also noted at the top will be your property manager's name. So this is the person that you can always contact if you have any questions. I've taken the liberty of redacting, since this is an actual client statement, of redacting the owner name and address, which will appear in this box, and the rental property address, which will appear here for each of your statements. Our statements are organized very similar to a checkbook register. There is a date column, a payee or payer column. So this will be the indication of who was paid or who deposited funds. The type of transaction, whether it's a check, a credit card receipt, an ACH payment, or some other type of funds being deposited or paid. A reference number, so if it's a check, it'll give you a check number. If it's a credit card receipt, as an example here, it gives you a reference information. It's mostly for our use, but it's on here for you as well. And then a description of what's going on, a brief description of what that transaction was. There's an income column and an expense column, so you'll know whether money's coming in to your balance or leaving your balance. And then, of course, there's a running balance total over here. So let's look at some of these transactions. In this case, these first two transactions are checks paid to Casey Metro Maintenance LLC. So this is for maintenance expenses. And you can see here there was an expense of $115.29 because a new light switch was installed at the back porch. So there will always be a short description here of the maintenance that is happening and the expense shown over here in the column, and you can see that was deducted from the balance. Down here, we have rent being paid for November. So the rent on this property is $1,640 a month, and that's being paid here. You'll see a rent processing fee. Sometimes this is actually a tenant fee, but our system, because of the way it works, the fee will show up here in your account, and then down here you'll see we remove it again. So that's the tenant paying a fee for the ability to use an online form of payment. Some other expenses, management fees are right here. You can see that was paid to One Stop Property Management by check in this amount. And then finally, and probably most importantly to you, here on November 21st, I think the 20th was a Sunday, is the owner draw. So this is the disbursement to this owner for that month of the funds that were left in the account. And then there's an ending cash balance here of $1,738. And you're probably asking, why is there an ending cash balance? Wouldn't you have dispersed everything to the owner? Typically we do. But sometimes there might be a reserve or a prepayment or a work order estimate. And that is going to be shown down here in this property cash summary section. A required reserves, typically this is set at 0 so that any funds that are in your property on the 20th get dispersed to you. But at times of vacancy, we typically put a small reserve to ensure that we hold some funds from that last month of rent to cover things such as utilities or mowing the lawn or other things that might come up during the vacancy. A prepayment is in the situation where a tenant has prepaid for next month's rent. This doesn't happen very often because we disperse on the 20th, but in the event that it does, the funds don't get dispersed to you until they have been offset with a tenant charge. So if the tenant prepays rent and the rent hasn't been charged yet, it's going to sit in this prepayment line until the next month, and then those funds become available to you as the owner. And then lastly is work order estimates. So when there is a larger maintenance, a maintenance need, and you have authorized us to expend funds greater than your authorization limit in the property management agreement, we'll place a hold on funds that are in your account so that we have the funds needed to pay for the authorized work. So you can see here that there's a work order estimate amount of 1738. So those funds have been held in the account here at the ending cash balance to pay for that authorized maintenance and not dispersed at this time. If you have more than one property with us, then you will get a similar statement for each property. In the event that there is a bill that has not been paid, so in this case, in that case, there would be a bill that is waiting to be paid, but has not been paid because usually because there are no funds in the account. We typically, if funds are available, will pay all of the bills on our check runs on the 10th, the 20th, and the end of the month. And that there will be a section in between here, but right before this property cash summary, that will provide the date, the payee, a description, and the amount, and it will say unpaid and show you that those bills are outstanding. So if you see that, it just means that we haven't paid those bills yet. It could be that we are going to request funds from you, or we already have and you're in the process of depositing those. Or it could be that those bills aren't due and we're waiting for rent to come in the next month in order to pay it. In any case, you'll have that information when you see your statement. And if you have any questions, again, your property manager is listed at the front. You can give us a call and ask for your property manager. They'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And we hope that you find this useful as you begin your experience with us, and that this will be a helpful resource to you as you review and receive your owner statements each month. Those will show up in your owner portal. You'll get an email notifying you that those have been posted, as well as you'll get your ACH deposit for any funds that are being dispersed to you on the 20th. So that's a brief overview of our owner statement and what you'll typically see or find on it. In this email, there are some other resources. Our software system, Appfolio, has an online webpage that answers a lot of questions that you may have, or it's a great resource to have bookmarked or set aside, so in case you have those questions in the future. But we're so happy to have you join us, and we're looking forward to managing for you and hope that you have a great experience here with One Stop Property Management. Thank you and have a wonderful day.